All right, today we're going to unbox, test, and review the ClearTV Premium HD TV antenna. Is it legit or an antenna misfit? Check the packaging here for any outlandish or exaggerated claims. And to be honest, I don't really see any here. They've done a pretty good job of keeping it fairly honest. Now, the 4K ready and HD stuff, you have to ignore that. Every antenna company does that. Whether it's a high quality antenna or a cheap antenna, they all put that on the packaging. Those are marketing buzzwords. TV antennas only see radio frequencies. They don't care if a channel is standard definition, high definition, color, black and white, next gen, it doesn't matter. They only see frequencies. So just ignore that kind of stuff. The rest of the front here, pretty reasonable. They actually make a few good points here. The channels that they say you might be able to get, all of these are indeed over-the-air broadcast networks. I don't see any cable channels mentioned here like HBO or ESPN, so that's a good sign. On the back side of the package, this is a little misleading, this ClearTV technology. There is no ClearTV technology. It's just a TV antenna and incredibly clear HD signal. Any antenna will give you a clear HD signal because digital television is all or nothing. You either get the picture perfectly or you don't. So again, there is no special ClearTV technology. But nice try. Just took the leaflet out of the packaging here. Let's open it up. They've got some pretty good installation instructions here. Then flipping it around, they got actually a lot of helpful information here as well. Now they do make a mileage claim right here, 35 miles, which for an indoor antenna is reasonable. But for this antenna, I think that's a little bit high. This is a very small antenna. There's my hand next to it for scale. Probably 15 miles is more realistic. There's also a little blurb here about receiving cable shows. ClearTV does not receive shows that are produced for cable only. I like that they mentioned that because a lot of these gimmicky antennas really start to exaggerate what channels that you're going to be receiving with them. And you're not going to get HBO or Showtime or Discovery or HGTV with this antenna. These are meant for broadcast channels only. The only way to get cable TV channels is to pay for them. But overall, ClearTV has kept things fairly honest, which is nice to see because some of these, as seen on TV antennas or other gimmicky antennas, can really take a lot of liberties with the claims they make. All right, I've got it out of the package here, and I went ahead and extended these little telescoping dipole elements. This is really like a set of mini rabbit ears. The total length of the elements is 10 inches across both of them. So that means this antenna is actually cut for around UHF channel 29, kind of high on the TV band because over-the-air television broadcasts from channels 2 to 36, but this will not receive the low VHF channels 2 to 6. It will receive channel 7 to 36, high VHF and UHF, but because these elements are so short, this is really only going to work well for strong UHF stations, channels 14 to 36. You might get some VHF stations, channel 7 to 13, if the signals aren't obstructed by any kind of, buildings, trees in your area, but it's really dependent on your location. So that's it. It's just really, really tiny. The ClearTV Premium has the usual spaghetti thin coax cable that most indoor TV antennas have. This one's about 6 feet long, which doesn't leave you a lot of leeway if you have to position this antenna away from your television, for example, in a window. If you want to do that, you'll probably need to use an extension piece of coax cable, and I would really recommend using a proper piece of RG6 coax cable. You can see this is much thicker To join these two ends together, you'll need one of these. This is a barrel connector, also known as a coupler, and all you do is screw the two ends on to the threaded coupler, and those cables will join together to become one. Don't forget to connect the coaxial cable to the antenna in or RF in plug on your television or digital converter box. Sometimes this plug is also labeled cable in. Remember that an indoor TV antenna is located inside your home, and that means that all of the building materials your home is made of, whether it's brick, stucco, siding, aluminum siding, metal roofing, foil back sheathing, all of those things will block the TV signal from reaching your indoor antenna. And with an indoor antenna, you want to try and grab as much signal as possible in order to get reliable reception. So a few things to keep in mind. Put your antenna up as high as possible, on a shelf maybe, or somewhere up as high as you can in the room, and make sure it's pointing in the same direction as the broadcast signal is coming from in your area. Even better, located in a window that faces the same direction as the broadcast signal. Now, if you're not sure which way to point your antenna, go to antennaweb.org, punch in your zip code, and there's a little box below that. You can check that off. It says the antenna will be installed 30 feet or more above ground level. That'll give you the most comprehensive list of channels available in your area. Press search, and then you'll get a listing of channels and all of the digital sub-channels that they carry, along with the RF channel that they broadcast on. And there's also a map, and the map shows your location and the direction of the broadcast signals relative to your location. So this gives you a good idea of which way to point the antenna. Now, if you live in an area where there are broadcast signals coming from more than one direction, you can do a couple of things. First, you can take a look at the list above and aim the antenna in the direction that most signals are coming from, or looking at the list again, look at the channels that you really want to receive and point the antenna in the direction that those signals are being broadcasted from. Now, there is a little piece of tape on the bottom, that little white backing there. I left that on, and I actually put a piece of double-sided Velcro tape on here. I thought that would be easier to locate this. Once I found a spot right up here on this shelf on the corner, I just put the Velcro on there. I tried this spot here too, but I thought it would be easier to reposition the antenna if I had Velcro on there instead of having a piece of tape that would just get all gummed up and not stick. At least the Velcro holds better, because this thing's so light it'll just fall over if you just try to stand it up on its own. All right, so I've got this ClearTV antenna set up on the corner of this shelf, aimed in the right direction here of the broadcast signal in my area. This was the best spot that I could find for getting a reasonable signal with it. And I've got it connected to my digital converter box here. And now looking at the TV screen, this is VHF channel 9, and the signal strength is okay, but it's a little on the low side. It's right around the low to mid 50s, which is really not great for an over-the-air signal. It's not bad. It's just that this doesn't leave you much leeway if there's any kind of signal disruption. You need to have at least 40% signal to have a channel that's not pixelating or dropping out on a TV. And if I get any kind of like storm or wind that starts blowing the trees around, that's going to disrupt the signal. And this is most likely going to start pixelating or just plain dropping out. So that's the problem with small antennas like this. They just don't grab enough signal. Now, if you are in a city reception area and you're really close to the broadcast towers, that's great. But something else that might interfere with your TV signal, besides the building materials your house is made of and outside obstructions such as buildings and trees, is 5G interference. 5G cell phone signals are very powerful, and they broadcast right beside over-the-air TV signals on the RF spectrum. So you might need to get one of these. This is a 5G LTE filter that you connect in line from your TV antenna. It filters out those 5G signals and just allows the passage of TV signals through the cable to your TV or digital converter box. Now, to use one of these, you're going to need one of those barrel connectors I showed you earlier, and then an extra piece of coax cable to run to your TV or digital converter box. But this can make a big difference in interference, especially on RF channels 36 down to about 30. Those are really close to 5G signals on the broadcast spectrum. So you might want to try one of these. Now, you could opt for a larger antenna, but a bigger antenna is not going to take care of 5G signals. So you might have to buy a bigger antenna and one of these anyways. So I'd give the filter a try before I upgraded my antenna. So bottom line, is the ClearTV premium antenna legit or an antenna misfit? I think big picture wise, it's more of a misfit antenna. It's small, it's gimmicky. It's not meant for long distance TV reception. However, under the right conditions in a city no more than 15 miles from the broadcast towers, where you don't have many obstructions between your location and the broadcast signal, it could do well. And the reason I say that is because most stations nowadays broadcast on the UHF band, and because it's smaller, it's really meant more for UHF stations, channels 14 to 36. You might pick up some strong VHF stations, but I wouldn't count on that too much. So it could work right, but only under ideal reception conditions. While this wouldn't be my first choice for an indoor TV antenna, if you're limited to using a small antenna in your situation, then you might want to check this one out. Just keep in mind, however, the limitations of tiny antennas like this, and be realistic about the channels that you can actually expect to receive with it. However, it's important to know that if you live in a suburb or a rural or countryside area, you're going to need a larger antenna with more elements. This ClearTV antenna is not suitable for reception areas like that. Another couple of good uses for this antenna would be as a portable antenna for a handheld digital TV you can take along with you. Yes, they do make those things. Look in the pinned comment and the description for more information about portable ATSC digital TVs. And also, this would work well as an FM radio antenna. If you have a tuner that has a coaxial input, you can plug it right in to receive your local FM stations. If you look in the pinned comment below or the video's description, you'll see that I have placed affiliate purchase links for all the materials I used in the video today, including the ClearTV antenna, the 5G filter from Channel Master, the coupler, as well as some lengths of RG6 coaxial cable.